like to welcome everybody back to open session at 8:54 p.m. And we will now get the clerk to put up business arising from closed session. Okay, that confidential PWCS 3/2026 respecting conveyance of lands with Ontario Power Generation be received and the following be approved. The acquisition of surplus lands and registration of infrastructure easements from Ontario Power Generation be approved, and the funding for this project in the amount be allotted from Water Reserve 50%, Sewer Reserve 50% respectively, and the mayor and clerk be authorized to sign and execute the necessary agreements. Can I get a mover and a seconder? Councillor DeRose and Councillor Sentence. All those in favor? Opposed? That is carried. The confidential information dated February 24th, 2026 respecting development charges bylaw be received and that staff proceed as directed in closed session. Can I get a mover and a seconder? Councillor O'Hara and Councillor Decker. All those in favor? Opposed? That's carried. The confidential verbal update dated February 24th, 2026 respecting confidential update respecting QP negotiations be received. Can I get a mover and a seconder? Councillor Longo and Councillor DeRose. All those in favor? Opposed? That's carried. And the confidential information dated February 24th, 2026 respecting city response to correspondence from Regional Chair Bob Gale be received. Can I get a mover and a seconder? Councillor Sentence and Councillor Dedivides. All those in favor? Opposed? That's carried. Notices of motion. Councillor Hanley is not bringing his motion forward. Are there any other notices of motion? Go ahead, Councillor Dedivides.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The council requests the Niagara Catholic District School Board address parking capacity and safety concerns related to pickup and drop off at Our Lady of the Holy Rosary School.
So you're going to bring a motion to that next meeting. Okay, you got that. You work with the clerk on that. Go ahead, Councillor O'Hara.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This is a notice of motion of an intent to designate.
Intent to designate. Okay, Councillor Sentence.
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, notice of motion respecting reopening McAdam Park washrooms and the park itself safety.
That'll come next meeting. Go ahead, Councillor DeRose.
Yeah, through Mr. Mayor, I have two. The first one is about notice of motion for election integrity, and the second one is about a public shelter.
About what? Sorry.
The placement of a public shelter.
Okay. Thank you. So that's two. Okay. Go ahead, Councillor D'Angelo.
I'll have a notice of motion for McMillan Park, and then also a notice of motion regarding budget overruns.
Okay. Those will come all, make you work with the clerk, and we'll have all those at the next meeting, or longer, depending on when they're done. Okay. Now we're going to move on to delegations. I'll call on David Falletta, partner, Bothfields Incorporated, for their delegation, and remind you have 10 minutes. And then after that, in accordance with procedural bylaw, we'll bring the report forward. Go ahead, David. Welcome to City Council.
Thank you, Your Worship, members of council, staff, and I guess the public who's mostly online. My name is David Falletta, and I'm a registered professional planner with Bellsfields, and I'm here on behalf of Rodanko Hospitality Corporation. We had sent in a presentation. I'm hoping we can pull it up. Great. I know it's been a long evening. We'll be very brief and just sort of hit the high notes, and then happy to answer any questions before you. I'm joined tonight by Ralph Giannoni from the architect firm Giannoni Petriccioni Architects. And then online we also have our civil engineer Rob Melick from MTE, our transportation consultant Scott Catton from Paradigm, and our noise and compatibility consultant, Marcus Lee. We wanted to make sure, should any of those technical issues come up today, that we have that we have the experts here to give you the information you need to make an informed decision. Also, I'd like to thank staff, specifically Mark, Nancy, and Connor, for all their work on this file. It's been a real great collaboration, and we agree with the recommendation before you today. We're in full support of the staff recommendation within the report. The other thing I'd like to note is that we've worked through a lot of the issues with your staff over the last 6 months. So we really want to appreciate all of the effort that we've put into it, and we're really excited to see this project proceed. So next slide, please. I think we all know about this site. The last time we were here was back in March of 2024, where we had the statutory public meeting. The subject site is on the northwest corner of Town Line Road and Lundy's Lane. It's identified here in red. Just wanted to identify that it's an evolving area that's becoming more urban over time, and it's in line with your planning policy framework, which directs growth and density to this area. Next slide, please. In terms of some of the details, it's a very large site, approximately 23 hectares or 57 acres. It has a hydro corridor that transects it, and then it's currently used for agricultural cropland as well as a former motel and other entertainment uses. Next slide. In terms of the policy framework that really informs what we can and can't do on this site, we look to the regional official plan as well as the local official plan. Some of the key policies are highlighted in your staff report, and in our opinion, we do conform to the regional official plan. Some of the, I guess, key policies that we want to highlight is that this is an area directed for growth as a greenfield area, and there's a minimum greenfield target of 50 residents and jobs per hectare. Next slide, please. And the secondary plan provides a lot of detail in terms of how we can develop this land. The majority of the site is within the yellow area, which is residential. There's also non-residential uses identified along Lundy's Lane, and other elements that have been highlighted are the influence area from the aggregate resources, as well as some employment uses in blue near the northern end of the site. What we're proposing is slight amendments to this plan to really update the official plan and provide some additional framework in terms of how we redevelop this as a mixed-use complete community. Next slide, please. The staff report does a really good job highlighting the existing zoning, and what we're basically doing is updating the zoning to implement the proposed development, which Ralph's going to walk us through really shortly. Next slide, please. So now I'll just pass it over to Ralph. He's going to walk you through it, and then I'll finish off with some concluding comments about some of the key items that have been raised. Thanks, Ralph.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Ralph Giannoni. I'm principal of an architectural urban design firm named Giannoni Petriconi Architects. I'm really excited to be here. I have to say, it is probably one of the most memorable council meetings I've ever attended in my 30-year practice. I will never forget this evening. This is kind of anticlimactic in some ways, but have to say we're really proud of what we're presenting here today. As David has said, we've worked closely with staff. It's been an incredible collaborative effort, and we think that, if anything, the plan has improved since the first time we showed it to staff. Next slide, please. Sorry. Oh, great. So I'm going to go really quickly, but what at the core of this is really to kind of create an exemplar neighborhood addition to Thorold, using best practices of placemaking. And of course, one of the elements that we think is incredibly important is public realm, the public spaces, parks, open spaces, streets. So in this plan, there's a really simple diagram of a very large green space at the north and an urban park, kind of an urban square park at the south, connected by a double road treed boulevard. And so that becomes this kind of really strong element that kind of, I'm going to say, drives the rest of the plan. Of course, incorporating kind of interesting elements like a hydro corridor, which we think offers incredible opportunities to kind of create other kind of pedestrian linkages further afield off the site, connecting neighborhoods together. Really straightforward. Next slide, please. I'm going to go quickly, height transition. It's really focused from the taller buildings eventually being at the bottom right, the south east corner, and then kind of stepping down towards the Rolling Meadows neighborhood to the west with single family. Next slide, please. A really straightforward network of a hierarchy of streets. Discovery Drive connecting to Thorold Town Line Road, an intersection properly placed from the intersection of Lundy's Lane, Highway 20 and Thorold Line Road, having an intersection coming into the site in a more picturesque way, but also supporting neighborhood retail. Speaking of that use, next slide, please. Putting in place a kind of mix of uses that, again, kind of represent this idea of a complete community, from low-rise residential, single-family, townhouses, really focused on creating family dwellings, to condominium townhouses, to low mid-rise, and some higher mixed-use neighborhood at the corner, which would incorporate a neighborhood retail focus. Next slide, please. And this is just really quickly talking about, from December 2023, how this project has improved. It's improved in terms of its network, road pattern, clearly an improved open space relationship, and making a really generous park collection at the north end, incorporating the hydro corridor, and placing a really important element at the south end, which is this kind of urban square where we think will be a real center for the larger community that surrounds the site, but also specifically to that site, integrating with the retail to kind of create a little kind of piazza idea, urban square at the south end. Next slide, please. And just the nuts and bolts of it, right now, this is a demonstration plan. This demonstration plan is really showing 115 detached dwellings, 222 townhouse dwellings, 1,699. Again, this is showing a long-term evolution of a plan with potential mid-rise apartment units. Look, 202,000 square meters of residential gross area, 8,000 square meters of neighborhood commercial, and of course looking at an important one, which is 175 people per jobs per hectare, to kind of, again, round out the idea of a complete community. Next slide, please. And this is just a kind of rendered plan of that demonstration plan, showing that real strong vertical promenade with a double row of trees, ending at a park space at the north end, a square at the south end, integrating that square with a neighborhood commercial, which we think is going to be really important, kind of compact commercial site. And then next slide, just quickly going through, this is a view of that promenade. We've actually made back lane townhouses on this side of the street so that it's a complete pedestrian, contiguous pedestrian experience from square to park with a double row of trees. Next slide. An image of that compact commercial area, food store, restaurants, coffee shops, service retail, that I think is going to be a really strong addition to this community. Next slide. And then this is just an aerial just showing from the northeast looking southwest, showing how this development talks about a bit of density at the far corner, stepping down towards townhouses and singles, dovetailing completely with the Rolling Meadows community to the west, showing that park in the foreground that we think is going to be a really wonderful addition to Thorold. So we're really proud of it. Happy to answer any questions. Hope I didn't go too quickly. Thank you very much.
You're going to wrap up because there's a minute. You have a minute to.
I just have 3 quick slides. Next slide, please. We just wanted to highlight some of the key changes to address some of the issues that were raised as it relates to the quarry. You notice that the residential uses that were in the northeast corner have been shifted. So the image on the right shows the current proposal, and you'll notice that all of the residential uses are outside of that. So we have made shifts to address those concerns that have been raised. Next slide. The other big shift was really aligning the connection to the street. We know that this council approved that connection, and we're just joining that and bringing that to Thorold Town Line Road. So we're aligning with that red line approval. And then the next slide. The last thing we wanted to really touch on is that there has been some concerns raised about the cost-sharing condition. And I do want to outline a couple of things. The staff report recommends 2 conditions of draft approval to address this concern. My client is supportive of these conditions. We also received correspondence from staff regarding a potential revision of that condition. Again, my client has reviewed that revised condition and again is supportive of it. And then finally, during our public meeting in March of 2024, you may recall that that the solicitor for the Rolling Meadows Land Development Corporation attended that meeting, and he requested that a cost-sharing condition that was imposed on the Uppers Grove draft plan of subdivision should be applied to this application. And again, my client is open to that condition as well. So what we're saying and what the instructions that I've received from our client is that any of those options are supportable. We are here to work with you, to work with our neighbors, to make sure that everything is equitable and that everyone, that the cost recoveries associated with growth are shared equitably amongst all the landowners. With all that said, again, really want to thank staff and want to thank you for your time. I think the staff report does a great job answering all the questions, and we are fully supportive of that staff recommendation, and we'd be happy to answer any questions. Again, just one kind of final thing. I'm also joined by the owner of Rudanco, Jeremiah Rudan, as well as those consultants I named earlier. So if you have any of those technical questions, we're happy to answer them for you.
Thank you very much, David. And I'm going to open the floor up for questions from council. Are there any questions? Go ahead, Councillor Decker.
Thank you through you, Mr. Mayor. Thanks for the presentation. I'm glad to hear that there's parkland there. Will you be, or will the developer be putting in a playground in that area? Because it's so important with all these new subdivisions going in. It's great to have parkland, but we need to have places for kids to go and play or to go. So will any playgrounds or anything be going in these parkland areas?
Yeah, through you, your worship, to the councillor. To answer your question, one of the changes that have been made is that staff really wanted to see parkland delivered early on so that it's delivered at the same time as housing. The condition does require that. Typically, the land gets dedicated to the city, and then the city owns the land and builds the facilities within it. However, your staff has already initiated discussions with our team to figure out if there's an opportunity to construct it together so that those facilities are there as soon as residents join the community.
I'm glad to hear that because it is so important with all the development going on here in Thorold that we have, all these subdivisions and we don't have anywhere for our kids to go and play and grow. And I'm glad to see that you're going to have retail outlets there as well. And I hope that they do get filled because that's the other issue we're having. We're building all these subdivisions and then there's nothing there. There's no grocery stores or coffee shops or whatever, those types of retail shops, like even a place where you can go buy socks and things like that. So I'm glad to hear that, and I hope that they do fill up quick when the development starts. So that's great. Thank you.
Councillor O'Hare.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Through you to David. David, thank you for coming in. I remember the first time you were here, and the plan looked very good at the time. I really like it even more. So I want to compliment you and your team. This is really going to be a modern design, forward-thinking community. So kudos to you on that. A couple of questions. You speak about a complete community, and I think everything, all the pieces are being assembled here to create that. The one aspect I'm wondering about, has the owner thought or developer thought of creating a community center? So we can have retail, that's great, cafes, stores, we can have a park, but what about a space where community members could actually gather? So that might be something to consider for some of the possible spaces. I don't know if you've ever run across that thought or if anyone's thrown that onto the floor.
Yeah, through your worship to the councillor, that's a great question. And to be completely honest with you, the developer and owner is committed to building a complete community. They are actually delivering retail space not far from here, down the street, on Lundy's Lane in Niagara Falls. They've recently filed a site plan and they're bringing new retail uses there. So they have good relationships with retailers. They're planning on building this as a complete community and making sure that those retail users are there early on. As it relates to the community center, those uses are within your bylaw are permitted within all zones. It's a public use typically, and typically those spaces are owned or are operated by the municipality. So the municipality would work with the owner to find an appropriate space for them, whether it be a standalone building or within the base of a mixed-use building. So there's lots of opportunities. As you heard from Ralph, this is a long-term plan. We don't anticipate that it's all going to get built at once, especially the higher density product. And there is an opportunity to work with our team as well as your staff to make sure that those community spaces are provided. So we're happy to work with you and find out where they can be best suited.
Great, that's wonderful. Can you just explain a little bit about the quarry nose contour? We all know there's going to be a mine, or, sorry, not a mine, a quarry. And what is that contour, or is that going to be some sort of noise reduction fence, or is it going to be hedges, or what is the plan there?
Yeah, through you, your worship, to the councillor, as it relates to the noise study, to the noise and compatibility related to the Uppers Quarry, we know that they filed an application that's not yet approved, and they've provided some details within that. And what your staff has requested from us is to demonstrate how we would be compatible with that use. And what we've done is we've provided the land use compatibility study as well as a noise study that demonstrates that our proposal would conform with ministry regulations. We also have our noise consultant on board if you have any technical questions about that. So that's the first thing, and that's how we generate the land uses to ensure that they actually can be developed here. The second piece that your staff are recommending are safeguards as it relates to holding provisions within the bylaw, as well as conditions that require us to ensure that anything that gets developed complies with the ministry at the time of its development. So those holding provisions are in place today. In order for us to clear them, we have to ensure that we are providing the studies that demonstrate compliance with those ministry regulations as it relates to noise and vibration.
Okay.
And we think that those safeguards and those conditions are appropriate.
Okay. Last question is, do you have an estimated population once it's fully occupied? Is there a target population for that whole development?
Yeah, through you, your worship, to the councillor, it's 175 persons and jobs per hectare, and that generally relates to a general population. I don't have the exact number. We can get back to you on that number, but it's approximately 3,500 people and jobs. Yeah.
Okay, excellent. Thank you very much.
Councillor D'Angelo, go ahead.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just a couple questions and a couple comments. One is, I was just reading regarding parking. One of the things I find is when we build parks, a lot of times there's no parking for vehicles, and then it causes problems. I know it talks here about it being on a wider road, but just as you're going through this plan, I don't really see it on here, but I think some work needs to be done to make sure you allocate some parking there. It's right next to the hydro lands, so maybe an easement there could put some vehicles on there, just so that they're not just always parked on the road, because it makes, especially if you're going to be putting any sort of like a splash pad or any playground equipment, you want to make sure that the roadway is clear and it's one of the major arteries. So just a little bit more consideration on that. Is that something that you can work a little bit more on to as you finalize the actual plan?
Yeah, through your worship to the councillor, we think there's an opportunity within the actual park parcel where we can actually build parking. And again, that facility fit has to be done by, in consultation with your staff. So your staff have to work with us to make sure, and we're happy to make sure that there's parking there. I think the first step is really to identify what facilities will be in each of those parks, and then make sure that the parking that relates to those facilities is there and adequate to serve it.
Yeah, because right now we have some parks in our community with no parking, and they're parking in residential streets, causing issues. So a little pre-planning goes a long way at making it better, right? The other question, I was excited to hear that you mentioned that commercial will get there earlier than later. Is there a stipulation that as soon as you build so many homes or so many people move into the area that the commercial development will start? Or is it, again, this is a problem we've seen with some past developers. They aren't building any commercial development until the whole subdivision's built out. It doesn't help the residents that are there. And, you know, it just gets more expensive for a business, a commercial business, to get in there. If they could get in there sooner as it's developing, especially the Highway 20 corridor here, it is quite populated. And I love your optimism. I see an LCBO there, so it's good to see that. It's good to see a food store and some other retail. So maybe if you could elaborate maybe on the timing, what you expect, like as it's built out, because it's critical to have the amenities that the individuals need. And I use Beamsville as a good example. When they were building that out, they built some high rises in there, but they also put in some amenities on the lower floor that started supplying what was required by the residents that live in that area.
Yeah, through you, Your Worship, to the councillor, what I could say is that there's no policy or regulation that's being recommended by staff that requires a specific amount of commercial within a specific threshold of residential. Instead, what they do is they identify the need for a minimum amount of commercial to be developed within the entirety of the lands. So as it relates to timing, it's not tied to any planning approvals, and it's really difficult to do that within the framework that exists because there's no real requirement for it. The second piece I could say is that this is a very mature community already. Not overly mature, but there is residential there today. And in our opinion, based on some of the work that we've done, there is a demand for commercial amenities there. A lot of, we've started to consider the phasing and how this thing's going to develop. We know that there's going to be an intersection that comes to Thorold Town Line Road. You're going to have to build that light system to ensure the traffic's coming in. And that is the most appropriate location for retail in the first phase. So we do anticipate it's going to come really early on as part of the framework. So we can't commit to it now. Obviously, it's going to be guided by the market, but ultimately we do anticipate it's going to happen early on.
Yeah, through Mr. Mayor. No, that's exciting news to hear because, like I said, that's been lacking in other parts of our community. And you're just going to be down the road from the National Cricket Center, so that'll be a good selling feature for you. Yep. Thank you.
Go ahead, Councillor Didavides.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'm so happy that you're at this stage. How long has it been since you first came to council? It's been a long haul here, right?
Yeah, through you, Your Worship, to the councillor. We filed our original application in December of 2023. So it's been 2 and almost a half years, yeah. So over 2 years, yeah.
Well, I thank you guys for not giving up on us and putting this project forward. And the commercial aspect, there's rumors around that there might be a grocery store going there. Like, it's a perfect spot. So.
Yeah, you know what, we'll let the architect answer that question, Ralph, yeah.
So, you know, to make a great community, to add value, retail is incredibly important. And we call best-in-class neighborhood retail the best kind of retail. It's not trying to be anything more than just being a fantastic asset for that neighborhood. So the holy trinity of great retail for neighborhoods is a food store, a pharmacy, and a liquor store. And so that's the trifecta. And that's what you want to attract. And once you attract that, then you're going to get all the services and doctors and sock stops and all the other really fun stuff like coffee shops. And but really it is, you know, it's a funny thing. You know, the customers of the residential are the people that are going to live in the residential for a developer. The customers of the retail for a developer are the retailers. The retailers' customers are the shoppers. So you want to create an incredibly, really tantalizing opportunity for great retail. And I think this is a really wonderful location. I think it has has all the assets to be able to deliver that.
Being in business for 40 years and still in business, it's a great location. And I know people talking about wanting to develop in there and bringing up their shop in that spot. So really excited for that. I think it's going to be great for the community of Thorold. And I want to thank the planning staff for working with you guys and bringing it to this moment right now.
Thank you. Any other questions before the floor? Bring that on the floor. Go ahead, Councillor.
Yeah, just one last question I forgot to ask. I know when you're looking at retail or getting small businesses in there, I just want to highlight an example. Cam Wilson moved into the Thorold area as a mortgage broker, but I know in his Pelham office, he offers that out to community groups so they can use that. So if any of the businesses you bring in, try to see if you can work with them to see if they can also utilize some of their space to help some of the community groups. This way, they all benefit from it, and they're utilizing the space more so than just for the business, because sometimes meeting rooms can sit idle depending on the type of business. So just keep that in mind as you're trying to attract businesses, to give them that option that there's not a lot of community space out there, but it's something that they could partner with and then be more advantageous of a retail store there. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, thank you for the presentation, appreciate that. We're gonna put the report on the floor. DS4 2026, 13030 Lundy's Lane, proposed official plan zoning bylaw law amendment and draft plan approval. Can I get a mover and a seconder? I got Councillor DeRose and Councillor Sentence, and Brian is here from planning to answer questions. And
Do you want to, is it a friendly amendment to?
before we speak on that, section 16, is it a friendly amendment to remove B? That's you understand? You know
Through
where I'm
you,
coming?
Mr. Mayor, so number 4, the bolded and italicized would be what gets added to that, but it's obviously it's council's call.
Correct.
I can't see the whole amendment.
One sec. Can you put the whole thing up so we can see?
It's right there.
The whole paragraph.
Oh, you want to go back to that?
Yes.
Taking the reference out of the list.
Okay, so there's 16. A and the last addendum stay, B gets removed. Is that a friendly amendment with yous? Okay, okay, so we're gonna vote on the amendment first, right?
If it's a friendly amendment.
Mr. Mayor, if I could ask,
Yes, go ahead, Councillor Hand.
does that affect the build-through? Because we're eliminating B.
B is the DC one.
Well, it also has in there addition to either option
No,
listed
that
above a
stays, that
build-through.
stays. That stays.
Okay, I just
Councillor.
want to make sure, because you're saying B and that's a part of B.
No, that last paragraph stays, okay?
Okay, yes.
Okay. So you're good, everybody's good, that is a friendly amendment. I just want everybody to be on the same page and everybody knows what's happening. Okay? Okay, so there's the report, and any questions, Brian's here to answer. Are there any questions for staff? Okay, seeing none. All those in favor? Opposed? That is carried. Okay. And yous are done if you want. You can stay, but I have no more entertainment tonight. Although Councillor O'Hare plays drums, I don't know if he wants to play. Okay. Moving on to items and consent, items for consent, that's items 12.1 through 12.5. Can I get a mover and a seconder? I got Councillor DeRose and Councillor O'Hare, that's for all of them. Does anybody want to pull any items or speak to any of those items? Okay, seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed, that is carried. Items for consideration. CLK 2, 2026, respecting proposed fees and charges bylaw. Can I get a mover and a seconder for that? Counselor Sentence and Counselor Decker. And Nicholas is here to answer any questions. Go ahead, Counselor Longo.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just have a question on behalf of Thorold Soccer. I got a call from them today, and I guess I'll throw in baseball. Does this have any fundamental changes to what they're being charged? They were a little confused by this.
Who can answer that question? Can you answer it, or is that coming from Public Works?
I'm not aware that there are any changes.
No changes to the soccer or baseball? No? And Counselor
So-
Sentence is nodding his head.
I just talked, sorry, through you, Mr. Mayor, I talked with Brooke today on that, and there was no changes for those two groups.
Okay?
Okay, good.
Yep, and the clerk can answer as well.
And so just also for clarity, included in the schedule, which is the proposed schedule of fees, there, I believe there is the current fees and then the proposed amended fees as well, so they can be compared and contrasted a bit.
Yeah, it was just a little bit confusing, so I thought I'd ask.
No, it's a
to
good
confirm.
question. And understand that this fees and charges bylaw will be presented at a future meeting, right?
Yeah.
Okay?
Mr. Mayor, while I was looking through that, trying to find that for Thorold Soccer, I did run across one other thing that's
Yeah?
jumped into council's meetings every once in a while, and it had to do with fee for in lieu of parking. Has that been looked at? Is that something that the think council wants to look at? Is it possible to have some sort of staff comment, report on it to see if it's something we may want to increase? Because parking is at a premium in the city of Thorold, and it seemed that the fee, which was quite low, wasn't adequate in my opinion. I don't know if anybody else would agree, but
Well, I'll ask the clerk or planning. Has that come through planning?
Yeah, I just collected.
Okay. Do you want to speak to that, Brian?
Jeff and I probably can speak to it. The parking study is coming forward at some point soon, and that speaks to the concept of cash in lieu of parking. And then there'll be some further work done to implement that through changes to the fee schedule.
So that'll come with the parking. Are you good with that, Counselor?
yeah, as long as it's, if I just want to make sure we don't put something in place that we can't reverse if we choose to.
No, that's a good question.
Okay. Yeah, I think it was like $2,800. It seemed quite low
Yeah.
to me for, to get away with not providing parking. But I'll wait till that report comes back.
Okay. Anything else? Go ahead, Counselor D'Angelo.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just one question regarding, it's basically Thorold Minor Baseball and Soccer, pre-registered player. There's a fee associated with, I guess that would be for each player that registers for the league. Can I get some rationale why we're charging a fee for that? It's very nominal. It's like $3.50. Can I get a rationale? And do all other sports that are registered in pay that fee also? It's hard to, can't make this a little.
Does anyone know about that fee? That's not something I'm familiar with myself.
Like, to me, it seems like a nominal amount. 40 cents of that's going to the federal government through HST. I'm just wondering if there's no real reason for it. Is that a fee that we could just eliminate? That $3.50 would, I don't know if it was insurance-based, I don't know if it was.
Could be, and well,
or
we're
anything
gonna
like
get,
that.
we can get an answer for that, and when we come back with the bylaw.
Yeah, because if.
Can we duly note that and get the details, and then, because we're gonna bring the bylaw back, and we can, if we have to tweak it, then we can.
I'm okay with that, Mr. Mayor, but I'm just thinking like that $3.50 could be more useful for the organizations getting equipment. All costs are going up, so to me, I'd rather give it to them.
Yeah, and I don't know what it could be insurance, it could be something that we need to find out.
Okay, All right, thank you. And if other sports are also charged that, because I'm only on the one page, so I'm
Yeah,
not sure
we'll
if that's
look at
across the
that
board.
and we'll get that back. We'll get that information.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, anyone else? Okay, we had a mover and a seconder. All those in favor? Opposed? That is carried. Queen Street Bridge update. Can I get a mover and a seconder for PWCSC 3/2026? Councillor Decker and Councillor O'Hare. Jeff and Sean are here to answer questions. I know you want that received, but you want guidance, don't you, from us on this report?
Through you, Mr. Mayor, yes.
This is what's on the floor now, so depending on the options that
Yeah,
listed, it can be-
okay, because I don't think we want to take over a bridge, but anyways, go ahead, Councillor Longo.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I know we were given a 10-year extension. I'm just wondering if that's a possibility to
Extend
ask
it.
for another 10-year extension, and
That's a good point.
who knows, maybe somebody else will have to pay for it someday.
Can we,
Through you, Mr. Mayor, we talked to the MTO about that, and they said no.
they said no?
Can we drag our feet for a few months?
We could drag it for a few months. The end of the year is when it's due.
Well, this is like, when is it due for 2027, correct? Yeah, so it's good for this year, and maybe we can coerce them to extend it? We can never quit trying. We got till the end of the year.
We certainly tried on our end. Maybe there's other avenues to go down.
We can write a letter if that might help, or, you know. What's that?
Do they want us to take the bridge down? Is that what they?
No, they're saying if they may want to take it down. If we don't want them taken down, we got to assume responsibility for the bridge. And I don't think that there's anybody here who wants to take that financial responsibility.
No. How about like a 1-year extension?
Yeah. Well, we got this year, Counselor, so can we take I know what we're gonna pass, but can we take another kick at the can to talk to them?
Certainly.
Even if we go a year, you know, like, that's a good point, you know, to bite a little bit off.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, a letter from the mayor might really help on that
Well,
front.
you tell us what you want, we'll get it to you.
Okay.
We will definitely write the letter, okay?
Good idea.
Go ahead, Councillor DeAnge.
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, I agree with seeing if we get at least a 1-year extension. It pushes it into the next term of council. That council can deal with how they want to move forward with this, as opposed to us making a decision of what's going on with that bridge. Plus, it gives staff some opportunity to see how it fits in to any future use of our community. Now, just for clarity, it's only the bridge. It's not the rail trestle. That's separate of it. Okay, because that's something staff may want to look at. If you're going to continue a path, the trestle might be good enough if the bridge isn't safe enough to maintain. I think that's the issue, is the safety of the bridge, either people below it or people above it, right? So, but I would leave it and give staff some opportunity to work with the MTO on that and see what can happen for an extension.
Is the train bridge CN?
Through you, Mr. Mayor, I believe the MTO owns the rail bridge as well,
Oh, really?
but we're only talking about the road bridge at
We're
this time.
talking about the road bridge now, okay, that's good. Go ahead, Councillor Sens.
Yeah, so, Mr. Mayor, through you, so we're gonna ask for the extension. If we don't get it, do you need guidance? If they say no, or are we just gonna?
But we're gonna work to try and get an extension. I'm gonna write a letter.
Right, I understand, but past which one? You guys wanted something on 1 or 2, or?
Well,
I'll take the risk.
normally in a process like this, where we're making decisions about infrastructure, we would try to inform you, council, by going out and having PICs and having conversation with the affected residents so that you know what the ideas are. That's what we're asking for direction for. Do you want us to do that, or do you want us to essentially write a letter to the MTO saying that they can tear it down?
Well, I like the letter to try and get the, the extension, but beyond that, I think public input's never a bad idea. So I'm just curious as to what you want besides that? You want direction to have PICs and that sort of thing?
Yes.
What we're gonna do here is gonna be on the thing. We're gonna ask for a 1-year extension, okay?
Just
And
like
I'm
Jim
gonna
Hammond
write a
said.
letter, and
Yeah,
then.
perfect.
And then that'll be the extent of it, because I don't think there's anybody in this room, or correct me if I'm wrong, that wants to take over responsibility of millions of dollars for that bridge.
No.
Just curious as to what they wanted from today, so.
Well, then.
All good.
So what we're doing is, he's gonna put it on there, we're gonna do what council asked, and that's to write a letter and ask for a 1-year extension. Okay, so there it is. The staff be directed to request a 1-year extension from the MTO and report back to council. And that will be, I'll write a letter regarding that, okay? Who was the mover and seconder? Decker and O'Hara, are you good with that? Okay, they're good with that. Okay, any discussion on that? All those in favor? Opposed, that's carried, so you can work with Tessa and we'll get a letter together. Sean? Okay? That's good. Motions. Counselor Sentence, you're up on a motion for the sign bylaw. Oh, first of all, do you have a seconder? Counselor Decker.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Whereas bylaw 44/2018, being the City of Thorold's current sign bylaw, requires permits for a variety of sign installations and sets out standards for compliance. And whereas city staff have received inquiries from residents and business owners regarding potential non-compliance with sign bylaws and whether certain sign installations would require permits. And whereas the Thorold City Council requires clarity on whether existing sign installations may be subject to grandfathering or non-conforming use provision, and whether such a provision could be introduced to address legacy signs while maintaining public safety and fairness. Now therefore be it resolved that Corporation of the City of Thorold enacts as follows. 1, the city staff be directed to prepare a report advising council whether the current sign bylaw contains any grandfathering or non-conforming use provisions, and if so, whether and how they have been used to this date. Number 2, that the staff report further advise on the viability of introducing a grandfathering provision, including potential impacts on enforcement, fairness, and other relevant considerations. And number 3, that if warranted, the staff report provide options and recommendations for council to consider, including any necessary bylaw amendments and implementation considerations.
And do you want to speak to that?
Yeah, so this is coming, there seems to be a lot of complaints and a lot of tit for tat on signs downtown, and it's getting pretty uncomfortable. Everybody seems to be going at everyone, and there's people who don't know. They may have come into the business and it's been there for 20 years and they don't know what they need. So they'd like some direction. They'd like to know about this grandfathering, and they would just like to have some direction going forward.
Right. Does anyone else want to speak to that? Go ahead, Councillor Longo.
I just have a question for Councillor Sentence. So is this mainly in the downtown core that this problem exists?
Yes. Yes. So I sit on the BIA, Councillor Device sit on the BIA, and there's a little bit of friction and people putting in complaints, and it seems to be going back and forth and getting bigger. So yes, it's the BIA, the downtown.
So will the report identify what signs we're talking about?
Hopefully, yes.
Okay, good, thanks.
Councillor Dendavides.
I just want to add to that, this problem is not just to the BIA, it's spreading right across the businesses in Thorold. Merrifield Speedway has a big problem. Signs have been there for 40 years. Now they need permits. This can be interpreted to any business. I have a couple of businesses downtown. I have a sign there. It could be brought to my attention too, and it creates barriers and it creates tension for businesses where we got to make it easier to be in business. And I know these things are small, but we have to, I think what staff has to do when they make policies is get together with the BIA and the business people, because that's our lives, our livelihood. So we need a little bit of input when we make these policies. So we need more collaboration between staff and the businesses and the BIA. And that's my comment. But we need to, I want to see this grandfather clause right now be suspended.
You're talking grandfather, you're talking about signs that have been up
Yeah,
forever,
yeah,
and then all of a
exactly.
sudden now they want to buy
I want to
it.
see it suspended now till we can come back with staff report, because there are businesses and they're really, really upset, and they go, at least stop it now till you get the report back. Why should I pay? Maybe we can bring that up to the floor and find a way we can stop it now till the report comes
Well,
back.
that's a separate item. Go ahead, Counselor.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yeah, I sort of have more clarity on this now. I think you have to make sure you go throughout the whole community, Port Robinson, along Highway 20, because you can't just make one bylaw for the downtown and some businesses. It's got to be right across the board, so it's equally and standardized in the practices for everybody to follow what's recommended. Input is great from all the different areas, not just the downtown. I think it's critical. If you're going to do something right, it's going to take a bit of effort. And if it's right now to suspend what's going on until a proper bylaw that meets everybody's needs comes forward, I would support that also.
Go ahead, Counselor Sinton.
So that is part of this. I've talked with Danny in bylaw. He's working with everybody down there to calm everything down and say, okay, we're going to wait for this and then we'll go forward. And this will, once we put a sign bylaw in, it is for everybody, but it's got to be looked at. Where the problem is right now, as you know, Councillor Ditavitis, is downtown. So yeah, it will encompass all that.
Well, it's not only downtown, because he brought up another one that's a big one.
Yeah, I forgot about Merivale. Yeah, that's true.
And there's another business in Thorold.
And there was another one I dealt with on Highway 20, but you know what? We're working through it, and Danny's been working with these people. And haven't been heavy-handed. So that's the good thing. Go ahead, Councillor.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Through you, I just want to add, I support this suspension until we have a clear understanding of the direction that should be taken on this. It makes sense not to penalize anyone at this time, but let's create whatever is needed and then go forward from there.
Councillor Hanley, go ahead.
Thanks, Mr. Mayor. Yes, in regards, I concur with councillors in regards to suspending, and as Mike, just to reiterate, in regards to Merivale Speedway, a perfect example is since Donnie's owned the business, I actually talked to him today, he's told me that he's actually paid for all the permits for any signs that he's installed since he's owned the track, and that he's not happy with the fact now they come back to him and they want him to pay for all the signs that are there, and he's told me that he's facing some heat from the city in regards to it. So it's not just the downtown, and businesses are feeling the heat, and and he was quite upset today with me talking about it. So I think if we can do something to suspend it, review the bylaw, find what grandfathering, as some councilors have said, and let's mediate the fact for everybody.
Thank you.
Because as he said, there's more than one.
So that's the motion, but that doesn't cover some of the other issues about suspending. But when you're talking suspending a bylaw, are you suspending a bylaw for existing signs? What about new sign application?
No, not new sign applications, like in regards to the grandfathering of
Just
signs.
the grandfather.
Donnie's a perfect example. The signs have been there, like Mike said, for 30 years, and all of a sudden the city's going there, they're counting the signs and saying, you got to get a permit for every single sign. When we all know those signs have been there for decades.
No, and I see where you're coming from. So what we're looking at is, we're just talking about suspending it for the grandfathering right now while they bring in this report, but not, new signs are still paying permit fees.
Yes.
I just want to be clear here, so that everybody knows that what we're doing here, okay? I want to know, are you going to capture that?
Yeah, so through you, Mr. Mayor, I can write it down, or it can appear in the minutes too. But for clarity, so there'd be a suspension of requiring permits for existing signs and also taking enforcement measures on existing signs. However, new signs that come up that would be in contravention of the current bylaw would not be captured by the suspension.
Correct.
Are we good with this? I just want to.
Sounds good.
On the same page here. Okay? Go ahead, Councillor DeAngelo.
I'm just curious if they fall to are those portable signs with the wheels that are attached to a vehicle? They seem to pop up everywhere. Is that included in this? Is that also one of the signs, or are they more permanent signs?
I think you're talking permanent signs here. Am I right? I think this is regarding permanent fixed signs.
Yeah, that's why I was just looking for a bit of clarity.
Yeah. Is that correct?
There are provisions in the bylaw for portable signs as well, but I don't think the restrictions there are very tough from what I understand. I don't know that off the top, but.
Okay.
Like, to you, Mr. Mayor, are the portable signs permitted as opposed to a permanent sign?
It's a good question. I don't know the answer.
Look at the breakfast he got.
But?
No.
So I think, Mr. Mayor, like, if we're gonna start looking at stuff, I think we need to look at it holistically. And if because those portable signs pop up everywhere, and sometimes they're in sightline areas, and I don't even think they're all licensed. So, and to say the grandfather them in, if they put them up last week, is that grandfathering? Or do they have to be there? Like Merrittville is a good example of something being there for an extended period of time. But if something goes up 2 weeks ago,
So are we talking about permanent or fixed signs,
Yeah.
not the portable
Can I,
Polaroid signs?
say,
Am I
Mr. Mayor?
correct? Because I want to be clear on that.
Permanent is what I'm talking about.
Because if someone puts a portable sign, like you said, in a sight line, then we got an issue here.
But the portable signs that for some businesses that have been there for years on Merrittville Highway and other spots, they should be grandfathered in. Seminox Gas, they had a portable sign there for 20 years. Now we're going to make them have a permit? So we have to look at portable signs too. You have to look at the broad range when you're talking business, not so tunnel vision, when you, especially with something like signs that affect a person's business.
It's a good point. I know.
If I could add to that, that's what I was saying there. For breakfast signs and even sandwich board signs.
You know.
I believe they all have permitting. You have to get permits for pretty much any sign, right? Like, I think they all have fees associated with them.
No, some signs do not have, portable signs don't.
With, through you, Mr. Mayor, without delving too much into the current bylaw, because it is fairly detailed, but generally speaking, you're correct, Councillor Sentence. There's a pretty narrow scope of signs that wouldn't require, that are exempted from the bylaw. There is also a definition in here of a portable ground sign, so I believe that would be captured as well.
Okay, we're good? Okay.
Good.
Everybody good? We got a mover and a seconder? All those in favor? Opposed? That's carried. We're going to statement by councillors. Councillor De Davides.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just an update on the Family Day party we had. It was a tremendous success. We stopped at 700 people. The kids had an unbelievable time. There were so many happy faces. All the families in our community, there was a ton of Thorold people there. I want to give a special thanks out to BioVeld Niagara. Danny Reese stepped up. He bought 40 pizzas. The kids just went to town on them. Thank goodness Nella walked in here and she helped to serve the pizzas. Went through 40 trays in about 45 minutes. Marandola Real Estate Management, they stepped up with the face painting. We did 200 faces, all for free. The kids just loved it, and it was just such a beautiful experience. And I want to thank all my friends in the business community in downtown and throughout Thorold who let me come into their businesses and hang up a flyer. And even some businesses like Foodland and Big Reds, they said, Mike, give me the flyers. We hand them out to the customers. So this shows how the business community really wants to help the community, and it was a great success, and we're looking forward to do more.
Sounds great, and it was a great success. Councillor Decker, statement regarding early on.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, thanks. I would have liked to have talked about this when I went for Literacy Week, but just a quick thing, and I'm not sure if people are aware that the Early On, where the old St. Charles is, offers free interactive programs for parents and children ages 0 to 6. And it's a place where they can go and engage with their kids, and they have some really great teachers there that even teach toilet training and get them ready for school and stuff. So if people aren't aware of it, they should really have a look. You don't have to register or anything. You just go, and it's free, and it's a really great place for people to visit if they're not familiar with it.
Thank you very much. Councillor D'Angelo, clarification, McMillan.
Thanks, Mr. Mayor. I know during budget time that we had deferred some of the costs for a field that we were working on with the DSBN. So I'm pretty excited that, to offer some news that they've gotten back to us. They want to reconvene and meet with the committee through Jeff. So that, to me, is very positive. They've taken the suggestion that we've offered them, and we're working very diligently with that. So I want the public to know that we are progressing on this. We're working together on this to come forward. So I'm pretty excited. That's why I put a notice to motion, because I'm very optimistic after the meeting that there'll be some work that needs to be done to continue this process along. I think it'll be a great addition to our community, and it's nice to see that we finally got contact back from the DSBN that want to move this forward.
Well, it's great news that we're back at the table. Okay, so we got to get through by 10 o'clock, so we got bylaws. We're going to make it. Can I get a mover and a seconder for bills 10 to 13, 2026? I got Councillor DeRose and I got Councillor Decker. So we got Bill 19-1, 19-2, 19... wait.
10, 11.
Oh, excuse me. Bill 10, 11, 12, and 13. All those in favor? Opposed? That is carried. There being no further business, this meeting is hereby adjourned at 9:56 p.m. We were close.